She's a little wet. I gotta advertise my hole in my jacket. Pick my crack. Too fat for camera. But
Yeah.
too fat for jeans.
Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of the IYB. And today we're here with Mr. Manuel Trejo. We've been good friends for a long time. You might be wondering, one, what's wrong with my voice? I'm sick. I got a flu. Two, where the hell am I at? I'm in Utah, Ogden, Utah. And the reason I'm here is to visit a good old friend of mine that I haven't seen in a long ass time. And I think it was a good chance to get a good little interview and talk about, a little bit about you and what you can share and what you bring to the table, man. So let's start off with you, man. What you been up to, man?
Oh man, it's been an interesting year so far. A lot's been going on. I guess I don't want to get into too much detail about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, life in itself and struggles and overcoming them struggles.
You've been in the Air Force for some time now, right?
Just hit 18 years.
Yeah. So Emmanuel is stationed here at
Hill
Air Force Base and aircraft mechanic. Been here for just a couple of years, and then before that, England. How you liking it here?
I love it here. There's a lot of hunting opportunity, so I do a lot of that, a lot of camping, a lot of hiking. Not that I hike, because the hell with that. And it's just expensive and it's just really crowded. But other than that, it's a gorgeous place.
Yeah.
So
I've noticed you've changed a lot since you've been here, and not in a bad way. Like since you've come down here, you've gotten more into hunting. You've gotten more into your hobbies. You've gotten back into your rods. What's pushed you towards that direction?
I grew up hunting, so I mean that was fun for me. I've always wanted to do it. And when I went to North Carolina, I went to England, back to North Carolina, back to England, then came here, and I made a friend big into hunting, and he just got me into it. And I was like, whenever you want to go, just let me know. I'm down.
Yeah.
So
you just went, just caught on fire, got a little wind, and you just kept going.
Yep, ignited that spark again, and it's just been downhill ever since.
So since you've been here, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but what are some challenges that you've been dealing with here, and especially in particular being in the Air Force? I think that's some people consider joining the military. What kind of advice would you have for somebody thinking about it?
Thinking about joining?
Yeah, and what kind of, like, the things that they don't talk about, the type of issues they might be dealing with, or whatever kind of problems that...
Yeah, I think we all have our own problems, especially those that are in or those that are thinking about joining, or anybody really. We all have our own set of issues that we're dealing with. A lot of people, I dare to say, even no one's comfortable with change. And so if you want something different in your life, I don't want to say better. I mean, there's always better, but change can be bad. You can do something different. We can go hiking and anything can happen. You can break a leg. So, I mean, but it's just all about, really being uncomfortable. Or if you're not uncomfortable, just going head first into something, just being like, I'm going to do this and just see what happens. I think a lot of people get stuck in their hometown, and that's fine if that's what they want to do. There's not a problem with it. But for the people that kind of want more, I think if you want more, then you definitely have to make that conscious decision of, what do I got to do?
When I think you made that decision because you almost were like stuck in life.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely was.
And that was 18 years ago.
Yep.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild to think that just like that, the time has gone.
Yeah. It's crazy. I grew up in Latimar and went to Travis, went to Cunningham, went to Moody, and now I have this as my backyard. It's every now and again I reflect and it seems to hit me and I'm like, holy shit, like look where I'm at. Like how in the fuck did I get here?
Yeah.
And so I remember being that kid growing up on food stamps, and now I've created an opportunity for myself, but I'm also grateful that being in the military, being in the Air Force, it's also given me a lot of opportunity. I've met a lot of new friends, people with different mind frames, and it's just been opportunity after opportunity. And not that they were all given, but you make your own.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been good.
I think if you come from low income and you're having a hard time finding like where to go to school or even try to make a decision, if you put it in the military's hands, they'll make that decision for you. They'll keep moving you forward.
Yep.
And I guess for me, I just caution with anybody considering going to the military, because I'm so traumatized myself. I don't want you to go through an experience that can cause you more harm. But I think even with that being said, in the long term, I feel like you still gain so much than if you had stayed where you were at.
Yes. No, 100%. I was definitely on a path to nowhere. I mean, I slept on my brother's couch for 2 years before I joined, and I just wasn't doing anything. And I knew it was just time. Like, I wanted more. I didn't know what I wanted. I just know I wanted more out of life. And I just said, fuck it. And I just went for it.
What's been the best part about being in the Air Force?
The friends.
Yeah.
100% hands down.
We might have to finish this inside.
I don't know, I'm in it now.
Yeah.
I've gone a lot of cool places, done a lot of cool things. And, but the friendships I've made along the way, it's just the people, man.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yep.
You won't. I see a lot of people back home, they've never left and they've never seen what other people from different states are like.
Yeah.
So that's not even saying what other people from other countries are like.
Yeah,
Other people
exactly.
speak the same language in your own country. You have no idea what kind of backgrounds. There's ghettos from everywhere.
Yep. 100%.
There's ways of talking shit from everywhere. There's different, as you said, cooks. I
Yep.
want to try the way you cook.
Yep. Yep. Show me what kind of food. And I'm a firm believer. You know, I grew up with my dad, and we always had barbecues of people coming over. So I'm a firm believer. Like, we come together when we eat.
Yeah.
We eat as a family. We eat as one. Joining the military, I've learned a lot more about food, and I like barbecuing. It's a big hobby of mine, smoking meat. And I tell people, like, come over. If you bring a dish that you like to make, that you know how to make good. If someone's from the Pacific Island, North Carolina, California, it doesn't matter. Like, bring something that you like to make and you want to share with everyone. And we all just get together, maybe do a little bit of drinking, bullshit, and talking shit, and just eat some good food. And it's a good time.
Hey, so another thing you probably don't want to talk about, you tend to be someone who has strong feelings of depression.
Yes.
And you have found a lot about yourself
Yep.
through that, especially being out in the distance. What can you share about that? Maybe even advise or...
I think so. I've learned a lot about myself through depression. I'm definitely still figuring it out. It's not something that I've nailed down. And for me, it seems like it's a constant process. So it's always something. I know another part of me that when I am depressed, I shut down. I push people away. I do have a sense of like hyper independence where I'm like, I'll handle everything myself. And, here as of recent, I realized that I don't need to. I don't have to. I know I have a strong support group, and I have chosen for years to not use it. And because I never used it up until now, all those years I felt alone, and I never had to. And so that's time wasted. And I'm also a firm believer, if I confide in you about something and I'm breaking down or whatever the case may be, that is also an opportunity to make our relationship stronger.
Yeah. What do you think caused you to be so independent?
It definitely started when I'm young. So I've been thinking, when we're young, yes, we're kids, but we still have a mind of like how we operate that no one teaches us. And somehow one way we just figure it out, whether it's like path of least resistance or whatever it may be. And I just remember being a kid and just feeling alone. And that wasn't the case because my dad and I have a super close relationship, but I never leaned on him. And I don't know if it was one of those things as a kid to where I felt like I couldn't talk to my parents. So this is like 6, 7, 8, like that young. And so I feel like I can't talk to my parents. And it was, I don't know, maybe I took it too literal when they said, go to your room and think about what you did. And so, and there's upsides to it. I learned to have thick skin.
Yeah.
No one can tell me anything. Anybody call me what they want to call me. I'm like, you can't hurt me more than I can hurt myself.
I feel like the younger brother, because you're the youngest,
Yep.
always... They never want to feel in debt to
No,
anyone.
no.
You don't want to owe anyone.
Nope.
And maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
But I will say when I am in debt to someone, I'm grateful. I'm extremely grateful. Like I will do something. If someone does something nice for me, I will do it 10 times more. Like I don't give a shit. So I don't like owing people favors, mainly because if someone does me a favor, I genuinely want to repay that favor.
So learning to be a little more open to people.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a challenge for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. But it comes with some things because like you and Chris, it's always been that. It's always been that. And yes, there's times where I've been depressed and y'all don't know. Y'all don't know shit.
Yeah.
And so I even push y'all away, but I know that I can come to y'all and y'all are going to give it to me straight. And I do enjoy that, but it's in the heat of the moment. So for me, how I make it make sense, I call it the burning building. So right now, if I'm in this house and it's on fire, I don't know how to get out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm panicking and what the fuck is going on? There's just a whole bunch going on. But you're outside, you see what's going on, and you're like, the back door's wide open.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I'm surrounded in flame and you can clearly see a way out, why would I not try to reach out and be like, hey, all you gotta do is this. All you gotta do.
Good question.
And so it's what it comes down to is like I'd rather not necessarily die. Well, I guess in some instances I'd rather die than reach for help.
Yeah.
But I don't have to. I don't even have to get burnt.
Yeah.
If I just ask for help. And realizing that is one thing. Putting it into effect is a completely other thing. You're rewiring the way that you think, and you have to be conscious about it. Well, first you have to be self-aware of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
That's a big one.
yeah, so it's fun. It sucks, but like in the moment it sucks. But for me, learning myself and figuring myself out, and I'm like, okay, now here comes the work.
Yeah.
So, but
Well,
it's good.
you want to finish this inside?
Yeah, we can. It's a little wet. We might have to change.
I'm more worried about
Yeah,
those.
yeah, I duck hunt. Oh yeah, that's fair. I duck hunt. This ain't shit for me. But yeah. Whoopsie.
All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, welcome back for part 2. Due to the weather, we decided to take it inside real quick, but wanted to wrap it up with a few more questions, particularly regarding what would you advise for somebody who maybe one of your biggest lessons that you've learned from the time you've joined the Air Force that you could pass down to somebody else that might help them make a decision and change your life for the better?
I think for me, it all starts with yourself, and you have to look at yourself but analyze it. Analyze yourself in a way that essentially makes you the asshole. So even in a situation that doesn't make you the asshole, analyze yourself as one, not as a victim. I think even in my younger days, I was like, oh, well, poor me, and I didn't do this, and I didn't do that. And once I started taking responsibility for what I did, I seemed to understand more about myself. And it's just like, well, when I understood that, I understood that I could also take control of my emotions. And I don't know, there's a lot of TED Talks, there's a lot of that stuff involved as well. You like to read books and all that stuff, just basic psychology, learning about yourself, but also learning for men or as women, learning about who you are as a person. But well, essentially as the human race. So like who are we as people? Like before you're Joel, before you're Mexican, before you're American, like who are you?
That's a tough question.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I think
Especially for a 20-year-old.
it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And we can get lost, right? I mean, just because you're young doesn't mean you don't have problems, but we get lost. People get lost in the alcohol, they get lost in the drugs, and they just get so used to running away and running away. And, it's hard. I spent years running away, but you have to, I don't say you have to, you don't have to do anything, but if you want what's best for you, then you're the only way you're going to get it.
On that note, something I noticed yesterday, we were hanging out, and of course, you've been sober for a few months now, right? And I noticed that you were a bit uncomfortable. And normally you would have like grabbed the beer and boom. I thought, okay, that is your escape. You had to deal with being uncomfortable. It was like when you're talking to someone and it gets awkwardly quiet and you're like, you go in self panic mode. And to you, that beer was always the go-to to just kind of, man, it just pushes you right through. So how did that feel? Like you had to deal with that situation. You had to deal with the uncomfortableness,
So I think back that, how can I say this? The first day that where I wanted to have a beer to escape my issues, I struggled. I struggled, and like I didn't physically cry, but emotionally I was crying. And I was just like, I want a beer. I want a beer. Fuck these problems. Fuck these problems. They can go away.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't. And so I dealt with it for fucking hours. I woke up the next day and then feelings weren't even there. And so it's, I guess what I've learned is that your emotions are temporary.
Yeah.
So your happiness is temporary. You being upset is temporary. Like these things don't last forever.
But alcohol is definitely, especially with any veteran, probably I would say just it's a go-to, man. It's a fucking diet staple, man. To just take a drink, man. Just hang out. And then it somehow becomes so relevant that when a problem comes up, alcohol is the first one to go to.
So I think, when we back in our day when anybody uses alcohol, it's like to celebrate, yada yada. And so it's very friendly, it's very social.
Yeah.
And then
it's sneaky.
Yep. And I don't want to blame the alcohol here because it's not the alcohol. The alcohol doesn't make its way into your life. You invite whatever you want to invite into your life.
Yeah.
And so when you become, the alcohol takes over because you've allowed it to. The alcohol doesn't have a voice. The alcohol is not telling you drink me. It's you and your mind that's saying, I need that beer. I need to have this. I need to run away. I need to escape. I need to self-medicate. It's just, we as humans are good at justifying bad behavior. If you don't see it as a problem, then it's not a problem. But typically your loved ones or your friends, whoever, they're going to say like, you might want to watch yourself. But it's easy to say, go fuck yourself when even if you don't know that you're escaping. right?
Yeah.
Because you're hiding from pain,
Yeah.
and it's not easy. It's not easy dealing with that pain.
And especially in a culture like Corpus, alcohol is already part of you. And then
Yeah.
you join the military and it's like another part of
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
So to get away from it is even that much harder.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like you
So
don't even know how to be without
yeah,
alcohol.
yeah. It was definitely. I remember times where it was definitely like, "Hey, what are you gonna do this weekend?" And I was like, "I don't know, but it involves alcohol.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna be drunk doing it."
Yeah.
And so it's definitely a culture thing. And
I'm gonna say like you said, I don't blame the alcohol, and I actually don't. I'm not an advocate for saying remove alcohol. It definitely has its place. Some people say that it's like really unhealthy, but I've also experienced really close relations. You and I have experienced really close bonding because of
yeah,
alcohol.
yep,
So
yep,
to say it's completely bad, it's like, well, then you're dismissing all the good and why people drink to
yeah,
begin with.
yep,
If you understand that, then maybe you can kind of understand why people resort to it.
yep.
Anyways, not trying to take over.
No, no, no. It makes perfect sense because like a social aspect. If last night's dinner, I wanted a beer. I would have, but I didn't struggle with it. But I was like a 9% beer with a steak, like just one. I don't need no more. I got a little baby buzz going,
Yeah.
and it pairs when you drink it, and you're like, this
Yeah.
is great. Some people don't have that self control. That like if I have one, what is it? Once too many, and a thousand's not enough. And so like I do get it, but for me, and I think for me, in my perspective, using alcohol as a tool to escape has been my biggest mistake.
Mm.
I didn't know that. The only thing that I knew is that I was alone. And I never was alone, but I felt alone.
And I think you didn't know that because every culture you went to kept enforcing it.
Yep, everybody drinks. Europe and England,
Oh
God,
my God. And I think we got a little more native in our blood, but people from England, Europeans can drink.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
just water to them. And I do feel like if you're from Hispanic culture, native, like to this land, like you will struggle with it a little bit harder.
yeah.
I've just seen that, and I've heard that, but I'm just speaking from experience. Like typically a Hispanic alcoholic is going to be way worse than a white guy drinking.
Yeah, I do think it's genetics too. You know what I mean? There's definitely some people who are like, my whole family drinks.
Yeah.
And so I do think that plays a part in it. For some people, it could be easy to get turned on to, and some people just don't like it.
I think the unfortunate part, because I'm rolling through my mind with this is, well, how do you help somebody that's potentially could be dealing with the problem with alcohol or something deeper? And it's like, unfortunately, they're going to have to crash on their own before they get it on their
Yep.
own that they need help or stop doing this
Yeah.
thing. I think that's how it usually goes because you keep taking your chances, you keep rolling dice because then you almost don't feel like it's a chance or like you're rolling dice. You just feel like,
Yeah.
like it's just normal. But until you get boom, pop, that's when it fucking the world
Yep.
stops.
Yeah. You can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped.
Yeah.
And if you do want to help me, well, I'll just push you away.
Yeah. Why do I need your help? I didn't ask for your help.
Yeah. Like, do you think I'm weak? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what goes through my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's the only time I started doing better in my life was when I hit rock bottom. But I realized that I don't always have to go there. And so I hit rock bottom and then I come up. And then I hit rock bottom and I come up. When I could just keep climbing up.
Yeah.
Why do I have to keep going down?
One more thing I want to touch on was since you've been in the Air Force, you've really taken advantage of going to counseling.
Yes.
And
Shit's free.
and I think man, I saw what's the guy from UFC, Dana White was talking about counseling's for pussies. And I'm like, I can understand that. I can see that. But I think there's no shame in going through it.
No, not at
You
all.
know, I think you can unlock a lot of things just by expressing and talking about it, and you realize where your weaknesses are, and maybe you finally hear yourself. But more about you, like what have you unlocked and seen through your counseling?
It's just perspective. And for me, what I've learned is it's a lot of, I'm simplifying it here, but it's a lot of why. So it's just like, hey, like, you're sad. Why are you sad? Well, I'm sad because this happened to me today. And it's just like, well, why about that are you sad? So you just kind of, what I've realized is we typically feel things and we sit in that and we don't ask ourselves why. Why do I feel this way? What is causing this to happen? What is the justifications for my action? Why do I do these things? So like in this instance, me being avoided and running away from my problems, my focus was run. Never did I stop to think and ask myself, why? Why do I do that? And it's just like, like, well, where does it come from?
So going through counseling helped you.
Yeah. So then there's like how I said is the perspective of like, well, this kind of, if I think back far enough and try to remember, it was like, well, I was a little kid and this is how I acted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, and it's all about just kind of peeling back the layers and really looking at yourself. And for me, it's definitely being vulnerable with yourself.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. And caring.
Yeah.
I find it easier to beat myself up than it is to care for myself and say that everything's okay.
Yeah. So I know that you've always wanted to be a counselor. I don't see that you might go to school and go through 6, 8 years of doing that. But I think you're strong enough and you're wise enough to be a supporter for anybody who's dealing with stuff. And so I think you're just one more person that if somebody's dealing with something, they can reach out to you.
100%.
And not to say that you will solve their problems.
No, not at all.
I don't think anybody would ever say that, but I think you're there. You'll be there. I know you've been there for your guys in the Air Force. I know that anybody who's ever reached out to you in your circle of friends back home. But I would say that if you need somebody, like here's a great source just from experience, and hopefully somebody who can at least be there in your corner and help you out. But hey, man, that's all I have for you today. We can keep going, of course.
Yeah. We can do another one later.
I'm really happy to have taken the chance to come down here to Utah because, I was thinking about it last night. I was like, it is easier in my mind for you to come to Corpus than for anybody back home.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And I'm not tooting my own horn or anything, but like, it's just like, it's something that you have to mentally get over. Like you start thinking about the travel, the stay and all that stuff. And it's like, it's so worth it once you're here and you can finally touch with someone that you haven't talked to or seen in so long. And shit, man, you and I have been boys since, since middle school, 6th grade.
Yeah.
And
even though we're boys,
crazy.
It still took you 18 years to come out and see me.
Yeah. But at least I'm one.
Yeah, that's true. The other one hasn't come yet. He's got 2 years, so we'll see what happens.
Hey, man, pleasure.
Yeah,
thank you for doing this interview.
Yes, sir.
And hopefully this serves of good use. I'm going to put your link on the description here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, got some good use out of it. Thank you guys, and hopefully you guys came out with something. Y'all take care.
Subscribe to my OnlyFans.